Good? Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today. I think I have officially broken Jason's record for attendance, so I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Also, happy May the 4th. Fair warning, I do graphics design and I'm a marketer, so we've had some fun with this today. I hope you enjoy it. I've been playing with some new AI tools lately. So Alex, our AI avatar, is going to give us a quick intro. I hope.
Doesn't look like Alex. Navigating the online landscape. This engaging session will guide realtors through the world of social media, helping them pick the right platforms, distinguish between personal and business profiles, and make use of scheduling and automation tools to keep their online presence strong and consistent.
So Alex was named before I got her. It was completely coincidental. We've been playing with a lot of new tech, some of it so that we can bring it back to you guys and figure out how this can help you in your marketing and cut back on some of your workload. So I hope that we'll be able to introduce some more of this stuff to you guys in the coming months. So today, we're going to cover Social Media 101. We're going to cover off the platforms to use and look at sort of where our biggest audience is. So for the work that you're putting into social accounts, where are you going to reach the most people? Personal versus business accounts. And we're going to talk about scheduling and automation. So today is part one of a three-part series. And what I want to cover off today are some of the technical basics of making sure you know what platform to be on, you know how to set up those accounts, how to move back and forth in between them, how to share content in between them. I know we have some advanced users in the room. Some of you guys have these pages set up. You're pretty active in social. You've got substantial followings. Bear with us. I hope that you will find some gold nuggets here. It might be a good opportunity for some review. Make sure that all of your accounts do check all the boxes, and hopefully the scheduling and automation will be relevant to most of you. Just so I can get an idea of everyone in the room, who here does have a Facebook business page? Okay, perfect. Who uses the Meta planning tool? Okay, all right, fantastic. So you'll notice as we go through the presentation that Alex is going to guide us through some screen recordings. So some of the basics of creating a Facebook business page, switching back and forth between your professional and personal Instagram accounts, how to share content back and forth between the two. I'm probably going to skip over a lot of that for today, but we will share this with you so you can certainly go back and watch. And Alex will guide you through those processes. So if you need that resource, we'll have that there for you. Quick note on the history of social interactions. Often people will come to me and they say, okay, you know, I've created this business page and like, what do I do now? What do I post? So we're going to talk about content in the second session next week. I hope everybody's signed up. But the point I wanted to make here is that the types of interactions we have online, you know, discussions, information sharing, all of these things, these are things that we have all done throughout history. You know, going back to the early days in the 1800s with the town crier, who is akin to Twitter, where you've got real-time news being pounded out. What's changed is the technology. So learning how to master these tools and work with them will help you to facilitate these discussions, but don't be intimidated by the social media. It is the same type of communication that you all do every day inside of a different form. So finding your audience. We've tried to kind of list these in order of relevance, so where you're going to get the most return. Funny meme here. This gives you a bit of a breakdown on sort of the tone of each platform, the different personas and the different types of content you might post here. So Twitter, real time, I'm eating a donut. Facebook, I like donuts, right? Facebook's somewhere where you can share a little more information, have a little more fun. Instagram, visually based platform, so have a look at this wonderful photo of my donut. You get the point. TikTok's a great one. Watch me dance with my donut. So YouTube. You will often hear of YouTube referred to as the world's second largest search engine. It's a bit of a misnomer. It's actually the world's highest ranking website. So it used to be in the old days that having volume, having content everywhere, linking to your website everywhere you could, would result in more traffic. This would increase your visibility in search results. These days, it is much more about quality over quantity. So when you're looking at putting content out and you're looking at linking back to your content, to your listings, to your website, what you want to do is focus on these websites that have the most weight in Google search. So YouTube's owned by Google. It has by far the most weight in Google search engines. We're going to come back to this a little bit and talk a little bit about how you can sort of optimize your video posts in YouTube so that they do get found for listings, for information, for you as an agent. Facebook, this is still the #1 social media platform in the world. I think there's about 3 billion users currently on here. This is also where our target demographics are. So people over the age of 25 who are conducting real estate transactions, they're here. This is also one of the most established platforms, so people are comfortable using this. If you're publishing a listing on Facebook, there are really good odds that people seeing that know how to interact with it. They know how to comment. They know how to share it. So if I see a house I like and I want to send it to my partner and go, hey, do we love this house? Chances are they know how to do that. So this is a great platform to use for sharing listing content. Instagram, visual appeal. So this is where you can really showcase some of the more featured type listings. You can show interior and exterior design photos, really anything that's going to be eye-catching. Instagram also gives you a bit of a forum for more casual types of communication. So we've got stories and reels that are really quick, kind of behind-the-scenes type content that really give people a sense of who you are and what you actually do in a day. Twitter, we all know Twitter's had some turmoil over the last while, but this is, again, one of the most highly weighted websites that exists. So posting content here is great for things like building links back to your information. It's content that will get indexed by Google. So for you as a realtor, if you're posting useful information, industry news, that kind of thing, that is going to boost your visibility when someone's in Google and they're looking for a realtor. For now, is the caveat. We don't know where this is going to go, but for now, it's still a very important platform. LinkedIn. This is another heavily weighted site, but this also speaks largely to social credibility. So, in any kind of sales, it's really important that we establish trust. This is what's going to bring people to us when they want to conduct business. And LinkedIn, it's a pretty simple platform to manage. You set up your initial profile, you join your networks, and then when people look you up, they can see that you're a professional. They can see that you've networked with other professionals. They can see you're part of the Meadowtown network with a trusted brand name behind you. It's a great place to showcase prior work experience and skill sets that make you unique as a realtor. Also a good spot to get industry news. TikTok. This is the only place we're going to talk about TikTok, and I will tell you why. TikTok has some really neat video editing features. However, Instagram these days is pretty comparable. TikTok has a really young audience. More than 60% of their user base is under the age of 25. So I know we do have some of the larger teams at Meadowtown who have been really successful with TikTok. There are niches to be found in there. On the whole, for the amount of work it takes to create content here, and considering that a lot of it is distributed over other platforms like Instagram, to me, this one does not have a high enough return to warrant putting the time in for the most part. If you've got a team behind you, if you have someone that manages your social, then certainly this can be a helpful tool. If it's something you're managing yourself, it can be a bit of a rabbit hole, and I think there's a broader audience on these other platforms for you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please.
Taking a psychology standpoint. If you're going to narrow it down, because you have 6 up there, and 5 of them are apparently useful.
Yes.
If you can't manage all 5 of them, is there like a mix and match? Like, are any of them complementary with each other?
So there is, and we're going to get to that a little later on. So I'm gonna put a pin in that, and we'll come back to it. So here's a quick breakdown of what we just went over. So based on the average age of a home buyer in Ontario or anyone who's conducting real estate transactions, we're looking mostly at the boomers in that 50 to 64 age range. So the blue and the purpley color is sort of that first-time home buyer group, 33 and plus. So you can see where the majority of the users are, and as we get down to TikTok, those numbers really decline. Guys, if you have any questions along the way, I will leave us a few minutes at the end, but please feel free to interrupt. Okay, so some basics of setting up your accounts. Again, we want brand exposure, we want exposure for you because it builds trust with that audience. We want you to be top of mind when they're considering buying or selling. So brand identity. Next week, one of the things that we're going to touch on is Canva as a tool to help you create content for social media, so graphics and things like that. And there's a lot of templates in there that you guys can use. One of the really great features it has is a very simple brand kit. So this is where you're putting in your logos, your profile pictures, colors, fonts, all those things that keep your web presence uniform. So you can see some examples here in the Meadowtown accounts. We've got the same logo across all of them. We're using the same color schemes. We're using the same fonts throughout all of our materials. People can easily recognize us, and it presents very clean and professionally. Facebook fail. So these are pages people don't trust. Improperly sized logo, no cover photo, poor description, no custom URL. The photo that's featured up in the top there is not a great picture. You don't always need to use professional grade photos, but you do want to make sure they present well. No link to their website, also a credibility factor. Darth Vader does not want us to use more than 3 fonts in any marketing piece. It gets very chaotic and confusing for people, and they don't always know. The thing when you're looking at marketing materials is we have responses to them that we don't even recognize a lot of the time. So you get an uncomfortable feeling and your eyes shift away, and it happens in an instant before we've even realized it. Using too many fonts, especially ones that are not complementary, is one of the things that will cause this to happen. Oliver volunteered for us. Thank you, Ollie. So when we're talking about personas and different platforms, each one has a different feel to it. So there's a different side of you that you are presenting in different types of content for each of these platforms. So, in a lot of cases, somewhere like LinkedIn, clean, professional photo, this is somewhere where you can share market stats. You can share, the home of the week that Meadowtown puts out. We put out a lot of great content. All of it is there for you guys to share and reuse. So this is where you want to kind of put industry news. LinkedIn is not somewhere you need to post every day, but it's important that what you're posting is relevant and professional, because this is a place where you do want to have sort of that polished presentation. Facebook, we get a little more friendly here, right? You can have some photos of your dog and have a little more fun with this. Instagram, way more casual, in the moment, right? This is very much like, I'm at the beach, I'm taking selfies, check me out. And I don't know what Oliver's doing on Tinder, we're going to skip that. So this speaks to curating, when we talk about curation, there's kind of 2 sides to this. One is curated content, so that's often content that you're getting from somewhere else and you're sharing that information. The other side of curation is putting forth your identity. So where we want to present our authentic selves and have those real interactions online, we also want to structure them in the way we want to deliver the messaging that we want people to receive with these accounts, right? So, pictures of dinner or hanging with your dog don't go so much on LinkedIn. Context. So this is an important point. 4 followers is not a lot unless you're alone at night in an alley. So another note, this applies across the board, but particularly to curated content. And again, curated content could be a news article that you're sharing from the Toronto Star. It could be a post you're sharing from Meadowtown. It could be the monthly market stats that we send out to you guys every month. Context is very important, and having your own voice come through with what you're presenting is also very important. So sharing an article from the Star that's on real estate doesn't say much. You leave it there, people may or may not read it. You have no idea what they're going to interpret from that. But you, as a professional in the industry, have insight into this. There's a way that it affects your clients, or a way it affects the market, a way that it affects you. There is a spin you can put on this to establish yourself as a knowledgeable figure in this space, and also to pull your voice through. And I'm actually going to use this to make a point specifically about market stats. So this is something we looked at very recently in marketing. And we thought, we get this information every month and we provide great information. Does it circulate enough? Is it presented contextually? So when we pull this info, we're thinking about you guys, the agents. So you know what DOM is. That means something to you. To someone thinking about buying or selling a home, it doesn't necessarily resonate. What they want to know is, how long is it going to take to sell my house? So taking that information, that raw data that we give, and putting some context to that relates to the people that you're speaking to online is going to go a long way towards audience building, trust building, and engagement. Naming your social profiles. So this is pretty standard. I think you're probably all pretty familiar with this concept. We want to make sure that your name is unique and that it's consistent. That doesn't mean it needs to be identical. It's really hard these days to find the same handles across all platforms. Sometimes you need to get a little creative. You can change a letter for a numeral and have it effectively say the same thing. But we want to keep these pretty consistent. Meadowtown and RLPM are taken. So when we look at naming conventions, I'm sure you all saw there was an email recently about Google pages and the naming. So what we want to do online is we want to make sure that we affiliate ourselves with Meadowtown, with Royal LePage, but we want to distinguish ourselves as individuals. We don't want to look like we are Meadowtown, because if there's 50 or 200 Meadowtowns, it gets confusing for our users. It also gets confusing for the search engines. So we want to make sure that you've got a distinct and unique presence there. Okay, so this is one of the tutorial videos that we've got. Alex will guide you through. So if you don't have a YouTube account, it's something you'd like to set up, please come back to this and you can watch this quick 2 or 3 minute tutorial that'll help you do that. Couple of best practices to keep in mind with YouTube. Think SEO when you're writing titles and descriptions. So putting up a video and saying, here's my latest listing, doesn't mean much. Here are 3 tips for home buyers looking for a house in the GTA in Ontario this spring. That is going to deliver results. Filling out the description, putting in the relevant tags for searches. So you're looking at location. Address, if you can publish that with your listing, is fantastic. Certainly the town or city, when people are looking for something in, let's say, Halton Hills, you want them to be able to find you.
SEO is
search engine optimization. Good question. Thank you. So this is speak that we when we're putting in descriptions, titles, things like this that search bots are looking for. We want to make sure they're readable for humans and that it makes sense to a human. But you want to touch off on those key things like, what is this? It's real estate. Where? Is the house for sale? Is it that I'm an agent that's giving you information? Whatever that is, You want to make sure those things are highlighted really clearly in your descriptions, in your titles, and then you want to use the tags. That's going to give you the most visibility here and make it more likely that people find you when they're looking.
Just another question about the account. So if I have a personal YouTube account,
Yep.
I don't want that to be my business account. So I make a separate one.
That is a very good point, and we're going to get there very soon. These are all going to autoplay on me. Same thing with Facebook. So with Facebook, this is somewhere where you want to make sure that you've got both a personal profile and a business account. You actually have to have your personal profile before you can set up a business page. It's a good spot to create longer and more detailed posts. So you can put a lot of information on Facebook. You can upload entire photo albums. You can put videos up here. And you can certainly put more text on this platform than a lot of them. Tip for setting up Facebook. There is a custom URL feature, and we'll show you that in this video. It's a great thing to set up. So when someone's tagging you, instead of being, at Alex12359, which Facebook generates for you, you can customize that so that it matches your other accounts. Ideally, it will match your Instagram handle. So if you're Alex's Real Estate, then that's what you would want to make the URL. And people can tag you with that, so they would be at Alex's Real Estate when they want to shout out to you online. Same thing for Instagram. With Instagram, you want to make sure that you're publishing. And again, we will get more into this next week. But with Instagram, you want to make sure that you're publishing reels, stories, and posts. That's really important to use all of those 3 different types of content in order to stay relevant and rank on Instagram. Instagram, one of the biggest great things about Instagram is the location-specific hashtags. So you guys work with local audiences, and this is a great way to reach them. So whenever you're putting stuff out on Instagram, make sure you're tagging all the towns, cities, regions, neighborhoods that you're working in. Don't go over 30, though. If you hit 30, they'll actually take your post off. Twitter. Twitter's got a What's Trending section. That's a great way to gain some visibility if you can work in, if you can have a look at their What's Trending and sort of work that into any of the content that you're putting out in the moment. Again, increases visibility. And this one's a really good one for promoting content and building links because, again, it's a really heavily weighted site. Throwing imagery into Twitter is great. It does help with visibility. It's also not necessary. This is a pretty easy one to throw some text into, a couple of hashtags on the fly, and move on with your day. You don't need to spend a ton of time here. So the exception to some of what we've just been talking about is LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, we want to make sure.
Create your account.
So for LinkedIn, when you set up your personal profile, you're going to use your first and last name. This video will show you that as you're creating this account, or if you need to go back later, you can edit it. One of the things that it gives you is the option to show your current workplace. Listing Meadowtown will add you to our network, and that is part of that social credibility factor. When people look you up, you want them to see that you are affiliated with a reputable brokerage. So that's a really important point for LinkedIn. Okay, so personal versus business profiles. To your YouTube question. Ideally, when you're setting up these accounts, you've got a professional Gmail account that you use for work. The easiest thing to do is actually set up all your social accounts under that one email address, so you've always got that to go back to if you need to recover anything or change anything. It just keeps everything central and easy to manage. For YouTube, because it is associated with your Gmail account, you should have a personal Gmail and a professional Gmail. And then your YouTube accounts should be associated with each. So on your professional Gmail account, you're going to have your professional YouTube account affiliated with that. If you use it on the personal side, affiliate that with your personal Gmail address. Make sense? Instagram is, again, this is a casual platform, so it kind of depends on how you use this platform. A lot of people have multiple accounts on Instagram. Some don't. It kind of depends on how much personal content you post. If you don't post a lot of personal content, and your business and personal life is pretty meshed in your online world, you can absolutely just manage one account here. Though I would set it up as a business account, and we do have a quick tutorial in here that will show you how to switch your Instagram over to a professional account. Facebook, really important to have a Facebook business page that is properly set up and configured. Again, it's a visibility thing, it's a credibility thing. Twitter uses completely separate logins, so if you have a personal Twitter account that you update, no problem, just log into them independently depending on what kind of content you're posting. LinkedIn. So this is typically speaking, you'll use a personal account, you'll add yourself to the Meadowtown network. The exception to that may be some of the larger teams that want to have a sort of a central business page for their team. That is definitely an option and something they can build out. We're not going to touch on it too much today. Did you?
Nope.
I think you did. You're awake over there, right? All right. Okay, so some more quick video tutorials, navigating back and forth between those business and professional accounts and how to share content between them. On Facebook, that's pretty easy. Instagram's a little different. It doesn't let you share, you can't share posts from one Instagram account to another. What you can do, though, is take a post on one of your Instagram accounts and share it as a story to the other one. So if I'm Oliver and I'm out hanging out with my adorable Chihuahua and I have posted this on my personal Instagram, and maybe I want to share this on my business account. I would log into my business account, I would find that post on my personal account, and I would share it to my story. That'll keep it there for 24 hours. It gives you something current and relevant so that you stay up there in their search algorithms.
I think Instagram and Facebook are linked now too.
We're going to get there. No, this is great. No, you're on top of it. That's fantastic. So scheduling and automation. Connecting Facebook and Instagram. Here's your tutorial. So the benefit is, does anyone here have a Facebook and Instagram account that are not connected?
I did, and then I stopped it because I found it a bit weird. It was taking a while to get to the Facebook, and it confused me a little bit. I didn't like having all these things connected, so I just go individually, and it might be totally wrong.
Okay, fair.
Going wrong, I just didn't like the way it was working.
You know what? That's actually a good point. So here's the thing. I do this because I find it easier. I find it time-saving. I can create a post on one platform and share it out to both really easily without having to redo the content. Like I've put the work into one, and I can put it on both. So there is a bit of an automation step there. Note about technology, especially some of this more advanced, newer stuff that we're playing with. These things can be finicky. They glitch. It happens. Expect it. Plan for it. Know that it happens to all of us. And you will find, as you practice with these things and use them more and more, you're going to find those things that work well for you. So for me, I find this a time-saving way to manage social accounts. But some of you may find it might not just be you, but
Because I have a business and personal account on Facebook. Whenever I have an Instagram, I post it automatically goes to one when I want it to go other one. So it's just not set up properly, I think, for me. I haven't done.
that could be. So, and you'll see in here when we go in to connect these accounts, you can go back to the same spot, and actually you can see it right there to disconnect the account. So if you've connected the wrong one, just go back in, disconnect. Make sure that you're on your business page in Facebook, so you're in the Meta tools here, the Meta Business Suite. And when you connect the Instagram account, just make sure you log into the professional account. Okay? Yes.
When you say connecting, when you're in Instagram and you do a post and then there's a button that you can push for Facebook, is that what you're referring to?
There's the button. Yes.
So how, I don't even
So, okay, so here's a quick screenshot of some of my accounts here. Buddy's my dog. And you can see I drafted a post for Instagram. So I'm doing this from my phone because Instagram is a mobile-based platform. It's kind of a pain, but you do want to use it from your phone or a tablet. So when I go to make a post, I've got all these options here. I can post this to a whole bunch of different Instagram accounts at the same time if I want. I can also share it to Facebook. This is my personal, so it's connected to my personal Facebook. Sandra, does that answer your question? Like, so whether or not you toggle that Facebook button is whether or not it's going to go to both platforms.
That's probably the way it's set up, because it goes straight to my personal.
So it might be that you need to disconnect them and reconnect the two business accounts. Make sense?
Before you post it, you get that power?
Yeah, because my accounts are connected.
I gotta check.
So actually, if I don't want this, I've done this before, I forget that thing's checked off in the bottom by default for me. And sometimes I post things to Facebook that I didn't actually want to. I just wanted to put it on Instagram.
All of these tutorials that you have,
Yeah.
are they being sent out by email, or how can we access them?
So in the next few days, I am going to send a follow-up email to all of you. I would love to hear what here was relevant, what you'd like to know more about, and I will share this presentation with you. On the note of technology being imperfect, Alex, our AI, had a few glitches on some of these videos, so I want to tidy them up a little bit, and then we will share them all with you, so you can certainly go back and have a look. Another point, and I will give you some information down the road here, but you do have the support of the Meadowtown marketing team. If you get stuck anywhere, reach out to us, let us know. I mean, there's tons of information online, but these things are also changing in real time. Sometimes you might call us because you're experiencing difficulty with something, and we're dealing with the same thing.
You also have the encouragement, but not the capable support of the manager.
Except the one in marketing. We've got you. So this is the Facebook interface for sharing to both. So you can see here it's as simple as having clicked both accounts. So there's our Facebook, there's our Instagram. The post that I'm drafting is going to go out to both.
One more question.
Yeah, please.
So, I always thought,
Oh, sorry. Let me pause Alex here. Sorry about that.
there's always mixed messages as to how many hashtags to add. And I've heard add as many as you can. I've heard only up 3. And then, so I try on Facebook, like when I connect it, to make sure that that particular moment is it's only 3.
Okay.
But how does that work here? Like how much does Facebook want? Is it 130 or does it want 3?
So hashtagging is more of an Instagram thing. It does happen on Facebook. They don't seem to sort the posts as well as Instagram does. So honestly, unless I've done if I've drafted a post on my phone for Instagram and put a bunch of hashtags in, and I'm sharing that to Facebook, then they're there. Typically, unless it's kind of a joke or part of my message with Facebook, I actually don't use a lot of hashtags. With Instagram, it taps out at 30. And if you are using any kind of scheduling tool, including the Meta Planner, it will actually fail to publish your post if you exceed that. So do not go over, actually I wouldn't go over 29 to be safe. How many you put, I don't know, people have different strategies. The more relevant hashtags you put in, the more visibility you have. So locations are important. Real estate is important. Ontario real estate is important. Anything beyond that, what the hashtags do is they help to categorize your content with similar content. So if someone's looking at real estate in Halton Hills and you have put in the hashtags Halton Hills real estate, then there is a good chance that they will see your post. So it is a good strategy to use a lot of them. You don't need to put 30 in. And sometimes we use them as part of our content, like actually part of the text content, right? You get a hashtag happy May the May the 4th be with you, right? And that in itself delivers a message to the audience. So,
I've never heard that one. I have a question. Like I've noticed, I do a lot of research online to see what other realtors, like in teams, and the hashtag thing.
Good.
I've noticed like a few hashtags which I researched. I'm curious, you might know more about. I see a lot of people putting FYP at FYP and at, like I don't know what it means for your something. And Is that to get it somewhere or like?
Yeah, so that is to group them with other types of posts. I'm not familiar with that particular acronym. We will talk about hashtags a little more next week, and actually I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to help with this. ChatGPT is really great. You know, you could go in and ask it, like, can you suggest some hashtags for my post, and give it a copy of your post. ChatGPT. GPT. P like Peter. She's gonna next week. Give her a break. Are you signed up for next week?
Thank you.
There are a few places you can go actually to check sort of what, even Instagram will give you some information, what's trending. So same as a similar approach to Twitter. Whatever things are trending really high, like what people are, so today, if you go look up hashtag May the 4th be with you, you're going to see a million posts, and they're not all mine, right? Because that is trending today. So I'm going to show you actually, when we get to the end of this, I'll show you a funny example of how you can actually use those trending tags in the moment to really promote some of your content. I hope that answers everyone's questions. It is something we're going to come back to and look at more next week.
You might have to add an extra session.
I am happy to do that, and actually, what I am really hoping afterwards is that we will share all this information with you, and I do hope that you will share with me what's going to help you going forward. What do you guys want to know more about? Did I skim over something? Did we miss something that's relevant to you? Please let us know so we can have that information to move forward and make sure that we're structuring the time with you to give you the best information we can. Hang on, I feel like.
This page.
Oh,
You'll see
okay.
down the left-hand side with
So,
the switch to your business page.
where are we for time? This is a longer video. I'm going to leave this, unless you guys want to watch it, but we might run a little tight for time here. This one's about 4 minutes, and this will take you through the Meta Planner. The Meta Planner is the free scheduling tool that's available for Facebook and Instagram, assuming your accounts are connected. If they're not connected, it won't work for both. We focused on this one because it's the free tool, and because it's available through Facebook, most of us have it. It's sitting there whether or not we use it. Let me just see where we're at here. 38:45. Do we want to take 4 minutes and watch Alex walk us through the planner? Yeah? Okay, let's do it.
There's more tools. Select switch. The menu on the left will give you several business options. Select Meta Business Suite. Select Planner. In the planner, you can select week or month at the top left of the calendar for different calendar views. Select the schedule dropdown. When creating a post in Meta, ensure that you scroll up and select both the Facebook and Instagram accounts to post to. To create a reel, add media. Thumbnail. Tell, including hashtags.
Alex is a little glitchy, which is why I want to redo some of these before we send them out to you. What you can see here, though, is that right within this one screen, you can create and either publish or schedule these posts to go out on both platforms. And one of the things that's cool about the Meta Planner is that it will post, you can schedule posts and stories. You can create reels here, but right now it doesn't yet let you schedule them. So if you're ready to publish them right away, you can make them here. The other thing, and I'm not sure if we actually touched on this in the tutorials, is that when you're in here, you can save things as drafts. So,
And then add music.
So let's say you have a listing that you know is going to go live in a few days. You're not sure when, so maybe you don't want to schedule it. You can certainly have that post in here drafted, ready to go.
And then select share.
Do you have to do it on a desktop or can you do it on mobile?
So you can, that's a good point. You can do this on mobile. I don't like to, it's frustrating. It's too small of a space.
A few things to note when creating posts are the hashtag tool and the emoji tool. You can check hashtags by clicking on the hashtag in the bottom right-hand corner of the post details field, and you can add emojis by clicking on the face in the bottom right-hand corner. You can scroll through a number of emojis to find the perfect ones to add to your post. Above the post details field, you'll notice a toggle that says Customize Post for Facebook and Instagram. Make sure this isn't toggled when you type out your post details. Toggle it after. This is where you can individualize a post. For Instagram, you want to add hashtags, where on a Facebook post you likely would not. Scroll down to verify that the scheduled date and time are correct for when you want your social posts to go live. Select Schedule. You can schedule other posts by clicking on the dates or clicking on the schedule dropdown. If you need to make a change, you can edit scheduled posts in the planner by selecting the post and clicking on the button with the 3 dots in the top right corner. You can make changes or edits to the post itself, change out the image, correct a typo, or reschedule the timing of the post from here. Select Save. If you need to make changes to both Facebook and Instagram posts, you need to edit them individually. You follow the same steps for editing or rescheduling for both a Facebook or Instagram post.
Yeah, so there's a quick tutorial. I will fix up that video a little bit before we send that out to everyone. We focused on the Meta Planner because it's accessible and it's free. There are a number of other scheduling tools, I think this speaks to Jason's question earlier, that will actually post across all the platforms. So LinkedIn and Twitter do not have any kind of scheduling tools built in. YouTube doesn't either, but YouTube will let you publish a video, save it as private, and change the private setting to public on a particular date. So it kind of works like scheduling. It'll let you put that content in and not have it visible until later. Hootsuite is a really well-established tool. We actually use this in marketing at Meadowtown. And this will post across all of the platforms that we talked about today. Loomly is a newer version of this. Apparently, it is a less expensive version of Hootsuite that also covers all of the platforms. I haven't used that one. Depending on how much time you're spending on your social, if you're doing like monthly planning and you are managing these 5 accounts, this could really be a good investment for you. Canva, which we're going to talk about a bit next week, it has some scheduling tools as well. It does not include YouTube, but it looks like once you connect the accounts and you've created a piece in Canva, it looks pretty easy to share those out and schedule them from there. So if anyone wants any more information on that, you can certainly let me know. Number 1 rule with content scheduling. I tend to look at these things about a month in advance. What are the holidays that are coming up? Any important days? Any trending social days? May the 4th. What's going on that we want to be ready for? And schedule out the bulk of what we want to put out so that we are putting out content routinely, and so that I don't find myself on a Tuesday afternoon going, oh no, we haven't posted anything in 3 days. This also frees up time and space in my day to post things on the fly as they happen, right? So we know that we've checked the boxes, we have enough content, we have relevant content, what's the current and new stuff that's happening in the moment. Now we have some time to do those posts. But the number 1 rule with this is not to set these things and forget them for a couple of reasons. One, if your audience is engaging with those posts, you want to make sure that you're getting back to them. People are commenting, or maybe they've asked a question, or you're seeing that they're sharing it. Might be an indication that that post is doing well and you want to put $20 on and boost it. When you're using scheduling tools, they usually work, they're pretty reliable, but they're technology. You want to check on these things once they've published. So I know Hootsuite in particular is having difficulty lately publishing thumbnails to our videos, and sometimes the stories fail. So these are things that we look at every day that we know we have a scheduled post to make sure, did it publish and does it look the way I intended it to? If it doesn't, I know it's gone out. I can go in, I can edit it, fix those things, move on with my day. So quick recap. Choose your platforms wisely. If you find that, if you're looking at this and you're like, 5 accounts, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for YouTube and Twitter and all these things. I will say the staples in real estate are definitely Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn you should have. LinkedIn is also not a profile that if you've set it up correctly, you do not need to continuously go back and spend much time on it. Having it there is important. But if you were going to pick 2, I would say take Facebook and Instagram, make them talk to each other to reduce your workload and build up your audience there. Use consistent branding across everything so people recognize you. And post relevant content often. Again, we're going to get into content next week, but something to keep in mind, if you go and you create a new social media account, do not walk away. Put out a post. If you create that account and you leave it there for a day, a week, you have already dropped off the algorithm, right? When you create that new account, you can set that baseline with the software to say, okay, I'm putting stuff out. I'm starting right now. And in terms of scheduling, people ask all the time, how often do I need to post? The answer for most of these platforms is every day. It used to be that we could get away with a Facebook post a week and maintain relevance. These days, there is so much content online. There is so much competition for people's attention that you really do need to be posting every day. But that is where some of the content planning and creation tools we're going to talk about next week can come in and work with the automation tools. And what looks like this massive workload can really be a day in the month that you book to create all your social, schedule everything out, and then effectively, you might be taking some quick Instagram stories on the fly when you're getting ready for an open house or something's going on, you're at an event. But for the most part, you've spent a day and you've handled all of your social for the month.
Is there a certain time of day that we have insights that people right, that are more, like they're searching, they're more open to it?
So that is a very good question, and the specifics vary. So it can depend on who your audience is, what the types of content are. You'll probably notice like our internal Meadowtown emails, a lot of them will come out Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings because we know those are the days in the week when people tend to have the bandwidth to open up their emails in the morning. Monday we're focused on work. Friday we're focused on not being at work. So we try. Some of us, I mean Jason, right? So it really depends on your audience. I will say, do not trust the scheduling tools. Hootsuite, if you're using a paid service, Hootsuite gives some good and reliable insight into that. The Facebook Planner will actually recommend by default whatever time you usually post at, whether they're performing well then or not. So the honest answer to that question is try different times and different days with different types of content and see where you get the biggest response. With something like Facebook, Instagram, weekends, evenings, outside of work hours are good. Lunchtime can be a good time. And if the weather's terrible outside, have a social day because you will catch way more people than you typically would. This is the example I was talking about earlier with trending content. So Gidget's actually an agent here in Mississauga. And a couple of years ago on May the 4th, on Star Wars Day, she posted a listing for Luke Skywalker's house. This is amazing. I get this memory every year, and every year I love it. I send it to everybody that I can. It is well written. It is humorous. It shows that she is experienced, that she understands real estate. It shows that she's a really fun person.
Did you black out Remax next time?
I'm gonna, thank you. Thank you for noticing that. My apologies. You just killed my joke. Like it just fell completely flat.
Go ahead.
So the point here was the content. This was a really creative way to use something that was trending, right? She showcased her skills, her personality, and she jumped on the bandwagon with Star Wars Day. And this post gets a lot of visibility. She shares it every year. It's probably up right now. And every year it continues to do well. So now what? We've done this. We've looked at these accounts. We've got consistent imagery everywhere. We've set up 5 platforms. We've looked at how to schedule things. What do you do? Next week, we are going to talk about creating content, planning content, not so much scheduling, but planning it. I know every day sounds like a lot. So what we're going to look at is how to curate content. You don't need to create new stuff every single day to put out online. That's a full-time job. So where do you curate content? How can you reuse the content that you've made? So a lot of what we do is we repurpose. We make one good piece of content for one particular platform, and then we start to chop it up and reuse it across all these different platforms. Okay, so we're going to look at how to cut down the amount of time you need to put in order to stay relevant, have something out consistently, and look great doing it. If you haven't signed up yet, there is a QR code here you can use to get to the registration form. Yes.
Before I say this, because I will be the world's worst evil emperor right now. And because May 4th, 1972, I was born. It was my birthday. So
Happy birthday. That's amazing.
I'm that jackass that sits in front of people during a listing presentation that tells them, I don't give a shit about social media. I don't post anything on it because I think it's garbage. My job is to sell your house. My question to you here and now is this strictly for us to be you use the word relevant 18 times today. Is that because you want us to be relevant to our database and meet more faces? Or is there enough evidence today to say, no, George, social media does sell a house? Like, I gotta be careful when I'm telling people, that's the devil, and I'm Jesus. Like, I need to make sure I'm making a good point here before I don't.
What there is evidence that doesn't just suggest, but does irrefutably prove, is that before someone conducts business with you, whether they're going to Walmart to buy, I don't know, kitchen catcher bags, or they're looking for an agent to sell their house, they will look you up online. So does it lead to direct sales? It can. It depends on how you use it. We haven't touched on advertising or sales funnels here. What we're predominantly looking at is social credibility. So does this help to sell you as an agent? Absolutely it does. And especially with someone like you who oozes personality fearlessly online, I watch you, it is a great way for people to connect with you, right? They can watch your Instagram stories and go, this is my guy. Or maybe not, I'm moving on, right? So I think it is a great showcase for you. And it also gives people, it gives people a sense. When you put out the coming soon, just listed, just sold, you put up these posts, people get an idea for where you work, what kind of properties you work with, right? If someone's thinking of selling their condo and they've seen that you've posted 10 of them in Mississauga, they might be like, okay, you know what? This person keeps posting these. They know this stuff. I'm going to reach out. So, it's about keeping you top of mind, building that social credibility and the trust, the reference point. People can go check you out. They can see all this stuff about you. So yes, it helps you as an agent.
Okay.
Whether or not it sells a house that you're listing, it's an important supporting piece, but I think it depends on how you use the tools, whether or not it leads to a sale.
It's only because during my listing presentations, my huge clients would tell me, George, I had another agent sit down and tell me about all their social media platforms, and I think it was shit. And they get angry when agents sit at a table and say, my social media is unscalable, it's one of the best. But because I get to know them really well, they tell me, I don't care about your Facebook and your Instagram. So I'm asking you that question, which I love your answer, is it's got nothing to do with selling, but everything to do with them doing a reference on me before they call me. So that I can live with, and I'll stop calling Jason as the devil. Thank you for the
You are very welcome.
I have a question.
Please.
Actually, before you ask, I just want to get you that brief on the microphone.
Oh.
These questions aren't being
Oh my goodness, all you're going to hear is my answers on the video.
There we go. I'm Paul. I don't think we've met before.
Hello.
My question is, we all have a website, and for me, I don't have anything linked to social on my website. It's the same branding and all that sort of stuff, and there's a link you can press on it and get my Instagram and Facebook, but that's it. I don't really put other content on my website other than listings, and I don't feel that that's a huge channel for me. Is there something we should be thinking about?
So when we talk about heavily weighted websites and link building and search engine results, a website, and I will touch on this next week, is a really key part of that. It tends to be that central place that everything points back to. So things like blogging, which have become much easier these days with the assistance of some of the new tech tools like ChatGPT. Integrating your social feeds right into that website so that it is constantly being automatically updated. You're posting on social, it's automatically coming into the site. That will keep you ranking high in search engines. And what happens is you create literally a web. You've created your own little space in the web with all these points of relevance that are heavily weighted, and they continue to point back to one spot. And if that spot is your website where you're showcasing listings, yes, there is absolutely value in that. And it makes it more likely that people will find you, people will find your listings when they're searching for those things. Sense? Anyone else? Come on, somebody's got a question.
Hold it, let me give you the mic here.
I have read that when you use systems like Hootsuite, that it doesn't get as much of a reach as if you directly post on that.
Not true.
Not
Myth.
true? Okay.
Absolutely a myth. Yeah, good question though. Anyone else? All right, I'm going to move on to our last slide. Oh, sorry, I skipped something. As we wrap up, what I would love for you all to do, take 1 minute on the note of building audiences and engagement. I would love if you could all pull out your phones, take a minute, add 3 people in this room who you are not currently following on social platforms. Go. You can even follow me.